So now ICE is using a 5-year-old boy. A 5-year-old boy. They took him and used him to lure his father out. And now they've detained them both. The family doesn't know where they are.
How did we arrest a 5-year-old? Well, I did a little bit more follow-up research. And what I find is that the 5-year-old was not arrested, that his dad was an illegal alien. And then when they went to arrest his illegal alien father, the father ran. So the story is that ICE detained a 5-year-old. Well, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to let a 5-year-old child freeze to death?
Like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell to get notifications anytime I go live or make a video. Make sure you still subscribe to this channel, like this video, comment on this video, share this video. Let's get into this. The left is out here losing their mind, their salvation at the same time by trying to be outraged about something that never really happened. They are pushing this agenda that this 5-year-old kid was, I think, isolated in an incident where the 5-year-old gets detained by ICE. Now, anybody with a connected brainstem knows that ain't no effing way in the world that ICE would be wasting their time going to seek out a 5-year-old to detain him. That's not even the age of culpability. Like, a 5-year-old could commit a crime and still not go to jail. All right? They go to juvie, potentially. Well, not 5. You got to be 8. I didn't want to say that because some of y'all threaten y'all kids right now, telling them they'll go to jail. If they're watching it, it's really 8 years old. So don't, your parents lying to you right now. Just take that whooping and get on. But they're lying to us. And so we are going to prove the naysayers wrong and the left is wrong, and share this with your ignorant auntie them who's still watching CNN every day. Come on, let's pull up the clip. So this is some footage of the actual incident and the partial arrest. Roll the clip.
This comes after an Ecuadorian man was arrested this week who DHS says was in the country illegally. The man's 5-year-old son, Liam, was also taken into custody, at least the 4th minor detained in Minneapolis this month. DHS says the boy was abandoned by his father after fleeing the scene.
Liam and his dad are in San Antonio, Texas.
Hold on, time out. The disingenuous nature of this news report is insane to me. Why would they say that a 5-year-old is taken into custody? They know the ramifications and implications of saying taken into custody. The kid is not taken into custody. You use taken into custody simultaneously with taking a criminal into custody. So that criminalizes what they potentially had done with the kid. They know better than to do this. This is the 4th minor detained. He's not detained. He's a child. He's not implicated at all in a criminal activity. His ignorant daddy decided to flee and left his kid. Why y'all not talking about daddy fleeing and leaving his kid behind? And then he leaves his kid behind. They take the kid to a safe facility. Why can't they articulate that they had, like, as if the ICE, in this case, my opinion, the ICE agents are heroes. They're taking a child that's abandoned out of the snow into their possession to get him into a safe environment because his daddy don't give a about him. But why they got to frame that he's taken into custody as if he's a part of the arrest? These people are not going to heaven with the stuff they're doing. Not too long ago, I had one of those quiet moments that kind of stop you in your tracks. Nothing dramatic. Just sitting around with my family, looking around, realizing how much life has changed. The routine, the responsibilities, the people depending on me. And it hit me. I'm building something meaningful, something worth protecting. And that feeling is powerful, but it also carries weight. Because once you realize how much you have to lose, protecting it all can feel overwhelming. Thinking about the future, finances, making sure that your loved ones are taken care of in case something crazy happens to you. It can be heavy stuff, heavy on the heart. And if you're being honest, insurance used to feel like one more headache that I didn't want to deal with. That's why I trust Policy Genius. Policy Genius makes the whole process simple and clear. It's an online insurance marketplace where you can compare life insurance quotes from America's top insurers side by side for free. No pressure, no guesswork. Their licensed team actually works for you. They help you find the right coverage, answer your questions, handle paperwork, and make sure that you're getting a policy that actually fits your life. I've heard from listeners who use Policy Genius and were surprised by how easy it was. and how much peace of mind that it gives you. And with thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot, the trust is well earned. With Policy Genius, real users have gotten 20-year, $2 million policies for just $53 a month. Ease the way to protecting a wonderful life. Head to policygenius.com/Tatum to compare life insurance quotes from top companies and see how much you can save. That's policygenius.com/Tatum.
Month. DHS says the boy was abandoned by his father after fleeing the scene.
Liam and his dad are in San Antonio, Texas, at the Dilley facility.
Now, where is mama at? Where is aunties at? That's the thing that's crazy to me, is that the real story should be, why would you have your kid in this situation? Now, we got a couple of people who are witnesses on the scene. We got JD Vance giving commentary, and Amala, who's one of my favorite content creators, she gave a statement about it as well, and I thought it was very relevant. And we have a couple more people commenting on this, but I want to start with someone who was at the scene, a witness at the scene. I think we have that clip. Whoa. Go ahead, roll it.
That.
You offered to take him and you saw ICE agents drive away with
Yes.
the 5-year-old boy.
Yes. And then I held another community member in their front yard sobbing.
Liam's
they
mother
say
was
anything to
inside
you?
the house.
Did they, like, when you asked them why they were doing that, did they say anything, talk to you?
So I don't remember if they did say anything back to me. There was a lot of yelling, and there was a lot of people making a commotion. And so all I can speak to is the part that specifically that I heard and my response
Sorry,
to
to
that.
clarify, Liam's mother was inside the house.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay,
Did
and
she
the question,
say she wanted her child? Was she clearly, obviously saying, just leave him with me?
Again, I was not at that door when that was, as they were putting him in the vehicle and leaving.
question for Mark. DHS officials have said that the father abandoned this child. How does that differ from what your understanding is? You said that they were being held at Dilley. What is your understanding of the conditions in which they're being held? Do you know if Adrian Conejo Arias has any sort of criminal record to speak of? I understand you were saying he was in the asylum process.
Sure, I'll take those in reverse order. To my knowledge, I looked through the Minnesota criminal database and found nothing. So no, there's no crimes here that the family has ever done.
Time out. Quit conflating before I jump through this screen on you. If you're in this country illegally, it's a crime. I don't know how many times we got to say this to people. If you come into this country without going through a port of entry, it is a crime. If you're in this country and you supposed to be at a detention or I don't know what they call it, asylum hearing, and you don't show up, you are ordered to be deported. I don't know what we're talking about here. You don't necessarily have to commit a crime in order for them to execute a deportation. What are we talking about? If the person is in the country illegally and there's a deportation order by a judge, then that means you got to go. You don't get to say, well, I need to commit a crime first before you can execute a deportation order. It's like, no. You knew you came here illegally, and you got to go home and take your kids with you. And these idiots trying to lie and say, well, mama was in the house. I wanted to keep the kid. They cannot give somebody kid to some random stranger because you got white guilt. They're not gonna get a kid to a stranger. And I bet you $1 million, I put my life on it. If a lady in the house was verifiably the child's mom, they would have left the kid with the mom. They don't want to deal with having a kid in the back of a car, having to transport him. That's more paperwork. But what is probably being conflated is that, no, there was another female in the house that wasn't his mama. The only parent verifiably was his dad, and so therefore the child has to stay with their parent. Okay. And y'all don't want to separate families, but he went with his daddy. Okay. Let's get to JD Vance. Roll the clip.
Well, I'm proud of the fact that we're standing
wait a minute,
behind
wait a second.
law enforcement,
Did-
and
did
I'm
we
proud of the
finish that?
fact that
Did we finish that last clip? Did the lawyer have something additional to say? Because I feel like I cut him off. If he does, put the clip back in, finish that. If he don't, let's just finish JD Vance's clip.
The clip was finished, Brandon.
All right, JD Vance, go for it.
we're enforcing the country's laws. But, you asked a question about this 5-year-old kid. I actually saw this terrible story while I was coming to Minneapolis. We just left Toledo, Ohio this morning for an economic messaging event. And I see this story, and I'm a father of a 5-year-old, actually, a 5-year-old little boy. And I think to myself, oh my God, this is terrible. How did we arrest a 5-year-old? Well, I did a little bit more follow-up research. And what I find is that the 5-year-old was not arrested, that his dad was an illegal alien. And then when they went to arrest his illegal alien father, the father ran. So the story is that ICE detained a 5-year-old. Well, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to let a 5-year-old child freeze to death? Are they not supposed to arrest an illegal alien in the United States of America? If the argument is that you can't arrest people who have violated our laws because they have children, then every single parent is going to be completely given immunity from ever being the subject of law enforcement. That doesn't make any sense. No one thinks that makes any sense. Now, there are so many of these cases like that where if you just understand the context, there have been a number of situations that I've looked into personally where I say, wait a second, we don't want ICE arresting American citizens. They're supposed to be enforcing the immigration laws against illegal aliens. So then I look into it and I find out that the American citizen who was arrested took a swing at an ICE officer. You can't have that happen. And of course they have to defend themselves. And of course they have the right to detain somebody who assaults a law enforcement officer. Now, this is my point. Do we want these things to happen? Do we want these arrests to be so chaotic? No, we don't. These guys want it least of all. But if we had a little cooperation from local and state officials, I think the chaos would go way down in this community.
Somebody give him a round of applause. What's funny is that how simple is this? There's a law in the book. If you don't like the law, change the law. Since you're not going to change the law, let's enforce the law. And then once we enforce the law, we need to enforce it consistent with all the other laws that we enforce. Because you guys don't want to enforce that law, but you want to enforce this law. You idiots don't want people who are pedophiles to get arrested because they're illegal. I hope to see y'all burning one day. Okay, let's get to the clip of Representative Angie Craig, because I think this lady was outraged over this. Roll the clip real quick. Angie Craig.
So now ICE is using a 5-year-old boy. A 5-year-old boy. They took him and used him to lure his father out. And now they've detained them both. The family doesn't know where they are. This is the worst of the
Time
damn
out.
worst.
Time out.
This,
Time out. You dumb horchata. How are you saying that the family don't know where he at? Where you think he at? He's in one or two places. Detained by the government or at the country in which y'all left and came over here from. It's only two things. And if you miss him and you're hurting, because then go back with him. Y'all could have got in the car too and left.